Attention, romance lovers, I'm about to drop some truth bombs that might just ruin your favorite movies. In this video, we'll tackle 7 popular romantic tropes and why they're actually toxic in real life. From the persistent pursuit that's basically stalking to the change for love narrative that screams codependency, we're leaving no stone unturned. Ready to have your mind blown? Picture this, you're at your desk, minding your own business when suddenly your crush appears with a bouquet of roses. Aw, how sweet, right? But what if they keep showing up day after day, even after you politely decline their advances? Not so cute anymore, is it? This persistent pursuit trope is everywhere in the movies. Think about Noah from The Notebook writing Allie a letter every day for a year. Or Patrick in 10 Things I Hate About You who just won't take no for an answer. We eat this up on screen, but in real life, it's a whole different story. What we see as romantic persistence in movies often translates to harassment or stalking in real life. It's crucial to respect boundaries and understand that no means no, not try harder. My friend, let's call her Sue for anonymity, went through something similar last year. This guy from her school kept asking her out, leaving notes on her car, even showing up to her dorm room door. Sue was freaked out, but some people were telling her that it was romantic. Spoiler alert, it didn't end with a kiss in the rain. It ended with a restraining order. So why do we love this trope so much in fiction and find it so uncomfortable in reality? It's partly because movies create this controlled environment where we know the feelings are ultimately going to be reciprocated. In real life, there's not that guarantee. Persistent pursuit can feel threatening and disrespectful, especially when the pursuer is ignoring clear signs of disinterest. Now brace yourself for some eye-opening stats. According to the National Center for Victims of Crime, 1 in 6 women and 1 in 17 men have experienced stalking in their lifetime. And get this, in about half of these cases, the stalking behavior started as what the perpetrator considered romantic pursuit. That's a pretty scary reality check, isn't it? So how exactly does this persistent pursuit narrative cross into stalker territory? It's all about consent and respect. When someone continues to pursue you after you've said no, they're essentially saying your feelings and boundaries don't matter. They're prioritizing their desires over your comfort and safety. That's not romance, that's entitlement. Think about it in your own life. How would you feel if someone refused to take no for an answer? If they kept showing up uninvited, bombarding you with messages, or trying to wear down your resistance? It's not flattering, it's exhausting, and often frightening. Look, I get it. We all love a good romantic story. But it's important to remember to celebrate a love that respects boundaries and listens to no. Because real love, it doesn't need to chase or convince. It grows naturally with mutual respect and understanding. And that, my friends, is way more romantic than any persistent pursuit could ever be. We've seen how persistent pursuit can cross a line, but what about when there are more than 2 people involved? Love triangles seem exciting in the books and movies, but the real-life consequences might surprise you. Let's unpack why these situations are far from the glamorous affairs we see in Twilight or The Hunger Games. In the movies, love triangles always work out perfectly. Someone makes a dramatic choice, hearts get broken but heal quickly, and everyone ends up exactly where they're supposed to be. But in real life, it's messy, complicated, and often leaves lasting scars. Take Twilight, for example. Bella gets to have her cake and eat it too, keeping both Edward and Jacob in her life. Or The Hunger Games, where Katniss initially juggles Peeta and Gale without any real consequences. But these stories gloss over the emotional turmoil that real people experience in these situations. Love triangles can create a toxic environment where communication breaks down, leading to misunderstandings and hurt feelings for everyone involved. It's not all passionate kisses and dramatic declarations. It's more like sleepless nights, constant stress, and a whole lot of confusion. Now, there have been studies done about love triangles, and about 60% of people have been in a love triangle at some point. That's way more common than I expected. But here's the kicker, most of these situations don't end well. People report feeling torn between their feelings, causing prolonged emotional distress. Many express regret over the pain caused to all parties involved. It's a far cry from the neat resolutions we see on screen. So why are these situations so much messier in real life than the movies? Well, movies can wrap everything up in a neat 2-hour package. Real life, on the other hand, doesn't have that luxury. Love triangles often lack these picture-perfect resolutions. Instead, they typically result in complicated emotional fallout, with one partner feeling completely rejected and the other just feeling plain guilty. What's another thing that makes love triangles in real life messier than their movie counterparts? It's the long-term impact. A study in the Journal of Marriage and Family found that people who have been in love triangles are more likely to struggle with trust in future relationships. The betrayal and uncertainty can create lasting scars that don't just disappear once the credits roll. Real love isn't about choosing between two perfect options. It's about building trust, respect, and open communication with one person. Now that we've debunked the love triangle myth, it's time to tackle another rom-com staple. Have you ever felt pressure to change who you are to win someone's affection? You're not alone. In fact, this common trope might be more damaging than you think. Let's dive into why people change for love and why it almost never works out. Remember Sandy's transformation in Grease? One minute she's the sweet, innocent girl next door, and the next she's strutting around in skin-tight leather pants with a cigarette dangling from her lips. Suddenly she's Danny's perfect match. But let's be real, that trope is actually pretty toxic. It's not just Grease either. Think about The Breakfast Club, where Allison gets a makeover to catch Andrew's eye, or She's All That, where Lainey becomes popular to win Zach's heart. These movies initially make you think that changing who you are is the key to finding love. But in real life, that's a recipe for disaster. If you're pretending to be someone else to win your crush's affection, you'll end up feeling completely lost and disconnected from yourself at the end of the day. So why do we feel the need to change for love? It's often rooted in insecurity. When we don't feel worthy of love as we are, we try to mold ourselves into what we think others want. But this approach almost always backfires. It makes sense when you think about it. How can you build a genuine connection when you're not being your authentic self? Changing for someone else can actually really harm your mental health. When you suppress your true self to please a partner, you create an internal conflict. Over time, this can lead to resentment, both towards your partner and yourself. So how exactly does the "I'll change for you" narrative promote toxic relationship dynamics? One partner is constantly trying to meet the other's expectations, while the other is used to having their partner bend to their will. It's a cycle that can quickly turn controlling or manipulative. I want you to think about something. Would you want someone to change who they are to be with you? Chances are the answer is no. Real lasting love is about finding a partner who appreciates who you are, quirks and all. It's about growing together, not changing the other person. So next time you're tempted to reinvent yourself for your crush, remember, the right person will love you just as you are, and that's way better than any movie makeover. While we're on the topic of romantic fantasies, let's talk about those magical first encounters we see in the movies. You know, the ones where two strangers lock eyes across the room and know they're meant to be. But here's a question that might make you squirm. When's the last time you heard of that happening in real life? Let's look at some classic meet cute scenes. In Notting Hill, Hugh Grant spills orange juice on Julia Roberts, leading to their whirlwind romance. Or take Serendipity, where John and Kate fight over the last pair of gloves at Bloomingdale's. These moments seem so perfect, so destined. But reality? It's a bit messier. If I spill coffee on a beautiful woman in a coffee shop, it's more likely that she curses me out for ruining her day, ruining her outfit, than falling in love with me on the spot. So why do we love these scenes so much even though they're totally unrealistic? Meet cutes in movies give us a sense of destiny and romance. They make us believe that love can happen instantly and effortlessly. It's a comforting fantasy in a world where dating is unpredictable and challenging, to say the very least. Here's something interesting. According to Pew Research Center, only about 10% of couples actually meet in public places like bookstores or a coffee shop. The reality is far less cinematic. About 39% of couples meet through mutual friends, and online dating is becoming more common. Relying on meet cutes can actually hurt your chances of finding love. When people wait for the perfect movie moment, they often miss out on real-life connections that are right in front of them. They might overlook potential partners that don't fit that idealized first encounter. So why are these perfectly timed meet cutes more fantasy than reality? It's all about expectations versus reality. Movies can create perfect circumstances, the right lighting, the perfect dialogue, impeccable timing. Real life is messy. People are awkward, and that initial attraction doesn't always translate to long-term compatibility. I want you to think about your own how we met story. Maybe you swiped right on a dating app. Perhaps you were introduced by friends at a party, or you might have been coworkers for years before that spark ignited. Whatever your story, I would imagine it's not as cinematic as Hollywood would have you believe. And you know what? That's okay. It's about the journey you take together, messy meet cute and all. Now that we've seen how meet cutes rarely play out in real life, let's talk about those jaw-dropping romantic gestures we see in movies. You know, the ones that make you go, "Aww," and roll your eyes at the same time. Do these over-the-top displays actually make our relationships better? Think about some of the most extravagant romantic scenes you've seen on screen. In Crazy Rich Asians, Nick whisks Rachel away on a private jet for a luxurious getaway. Or how about The Great Gatsby, where Jay Gatsby throws lavish parties just to catch Daisy's attention. These moments are designed to take our breath away, but honestly set a pretty unrealistic standard for real-life romance. Imagine someone standing outside of your apartment declaring their love for you with a boombox. All of your neighbors are staring out their window watching. Maybe you've just gotten out of the shower, you're only wearing a bathrobe, and it's just plain awkward. So why are we so drawn to these big romantic moments even though they're often impractical and sometimes even uncomfortable in real life? Real love is built on everyday actions and mutual respect, not dramatic displays. It's like we're chasing a fantasy that doesn't really exist. This can lead to dissatisfaction when our everyday measures of love don't quite add up to those movie moments. I want you to think about a time when a simple, heartfelt moment meant more to you than any grand gesture could. Maybe it was a handwritten note, a surprise home-cooked meal, or just a long hug after a tough day. These are the moments that build real, lasting love. No fireworks or private jets necessary. While those simple expressions of love are beautiful, relationships aren't always smooth sailing. What about when things get heated? In The Notebook, Noah and Allie's screaming match turns into a passionate reunion. We've all seen those movie moments where a couple has a massive fight and then suddenly they're declaring their undying love. It's intense, it's passionate, and it makes for great drama. But in real life, it might not be the healthiest way to resolve conflicts. Let's look at some classic examples. In The Notebook, Noah and Allie go from screaming at each other in the rain to a passionate kiss. Or in Sweet Home Alabama, Mulaney and Jake's heated argument ends with them professing their love and getting back together. These scenes are romantic on screen, but set up unrealistic expectations in actual relationships. Because at first, it feels exciting and passionate. You'd argue, emotions would run high, and then you'd have this intense reconciliation. It can seem romantic in the moment, but you're never actually resolving your issues. You're just sweeping them under the rug with grand declarations of love. So why are we drawn to watching these intense emotional swings? And the answer is it's just entertaining. While in real life, these dramatic post-fight declarations can often feel insincere. Here's the truth about why these dramatic post-fight declarations are often a red flag in real life. They can mask deeper communication issues in the relationship. When couples rely on intense makeups to resolve conflicts, they're not actually developing the skills they need to solve the problem. Over time, this can lead to a buildup of unsolved issues and resentment. I mean, think about how you handle conflicts in your own relationships. Is it more Hollywood drama or calmer communication? Now, we've all seen it a million times. Someone sprinting through the airport, desperately trying to stop their love from boarding a plane. It's a classic movie scene that never fails to tug at our heartstrings. Think about some of the most iconic airport scenes in movies and television. There's the heartwarming moment in Love Actually where Sam races through Heathrow to declare his love to Joanna, or Ross running to catch Rachel at the airport in Friends. These scenes are designed to make us swoon, but it's pretty far from what would actually happen in a real airport. I've thought about doing this in real life for someone. Spoiler alert, security would not be amused. If you don't have a ticket, you can't get past security. And I guarantee you, I wouldn't have time to explain this romantic mission before the TSA agents tackle me. These scenes create a sense of urgency and high stakes. It's all about drama in fiction. They make us believe that love can conquer all obstacles, even airport security and flight schedules. I am so sorry to tell you that that gesture is completely impractical in real life. I looked it up. According to TSA, trying to access a gate without a valid boarding pass can result in fines up to $11,000 and potential arrest. Suddenly, that romantic dash through the airport doesn't seem so appealing, does it? Relationship experts have some interesting thoughts on why these grand gestures often mask deeper issues. And they say when couples rely on dramatic moments to express their feelings, it often indicates a lack of everyday communication. Think about a time you had a big decision in a relationship. Chances are it was a quieter, more personal moment. And you know what? That's great. Real love doesn't need a dramatic airport scene. It's built on everyday moments, honest conversations, and mutual respect. So what have we learned from this journey through romantic movie tropes? Real love isn't about big acts of love or perfect timing. It's about the everyday stuff, communicating openly, respecting each other's boundaries, and building a genuine connection. Next time you're watching a rom-com, go ahead and enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with getting swept up in fantasy for a couple hours. Just remember that real relationships are a bit messier, a lot more work, and infinitely more rewarding than what you see on screens. The most beautiful love stories, they're not happening in airports or on top of the Empire State Building. They're unfolding in kitchens and living rooms, in quiet conversation and shared laughter. Those small moments of connection, that's where the real magic happens. And those are stories worth living for.